What's up, everyone? We are going to walk through a real underwriting example of a hot to trot lead that I am going to be putting an LOI on. So I've already had a conversation with the agent. I will drop that conversation. I did record that conversation in the training, so that way you can hear that. I was a little distracted, honestly, when I was on the phone. I should have been a lot more like peppy and engaged. You could probably tell in the first couple minutes I was just like, yeah, whatever. But then it actually turned into a potential opportunity. So we're going to underwrite this property today to see if it actually is an opportunity or not. So I have not underwritten this property. The agent is waiting for me to submit an LOI. So we're going to underwrite this property. Again, I'm sharing very sensitive information. Do not share this information. You're more than welcome to, talk about, I would love for you actually to talk about on social media about what you're learning in this Morby program. You can take screenshots, you can share clips of training that we're doing, all that stuff. The only thing I ask is when you're sharing that information, do not share clips or screenshots that have sensitive things like the address of what I'm showing you right now. So just keep that in mind, please. I think it's really important for you to get out there and share your journey. Just be smart about it, right? Don't share addresses on potential deals that aren't under contract and people can just snake from you. That's not a good idea. I'm sharing that with you because I can trust you, right? You're in the Orbit program. There should be a fundamental level of trust. So keep that in mind, but you cannot trust everyone in the community or really just anyone in general. So this is the property. It's a 5-bed, 2-bath. Awesome. So we're going to underwrite this. I'm going to go and use Renometer, and I'm going to change this to wow, that's a big house, man. Big house. 3,200 square feet. So market rent here is $2,500. I'm going to run this on Zillow rental estimate. And by the way, I am moving fast. I'm limited on time. If I'm moving too fast for you, what I would recommend is going back and watching my Underwriting 101 Master the Basics training video. That will help you get caught up to speed. This is going way in advance, right? I haven't even filmed the second Morby method underwriting training, so you may be a little lost in the sauce here. That's okay. Interesting. So this is saying 2,100, but this is saying 2,500. I'm going to be conservative here. Again, if you don't know what all of this stuff means, I will be doing, at the time of this is being filmed, I will be doing a Morby Method deep dive next week. There's also, if you're not on my newsletter currently, I have a free training where I spend 40 minutes diving into Morby Method underwriting. That would be a great one to look at as well. I'm not covering that today. I'm going very, very quick, okay? So I know that I'm going very quickly. Here's what the underwriting looks like. We have a purchase price of $279.99. We got that from the listing. We have market rent of $2,200. We got that from Renometer, right? So this said 25. Zillow saying 21, so I'm saying, okay, it's probably, let's take the middle. It's probably 2,200. So we have the taxes, we have the insurance, we have the LTV here. This is what the seller finance would be, the seller finance portion. We're not going to do 10%, so just ignore that for now. We're going to offer, let's say, 40% cash to close. Based on this, if we're pulling in $2,200 monthly rent, we have a mortgage, PI, taxes, insurance, all that stuff, CapEx. We're going to be losing $226 a month. And so if we do a seller finance payment, we're just deepening that hole, right? But if you did co-living on this property, let's say you did 675 times 4. That's $2,700 a month. I think you'd probably need to do higher than that. So I would say 725 times 4, 2,900 a month. And then let's just say you're going to have like 500 in utilities and lawn care and stuff like that. So you're at 2,400 a month. I don't see how you could have a monthly payment, honestly. I think this has to go away. This sucks. You know, you could argue that this is essentially a break even, right? You won't have management, you won't have CapEx. This is a break even. You would get a huge surplus. I still think you could assign this because there are some buyers that will buy cash flowing properties at a loss. This is a tough one because you're essentially going to be losing $226 a month. If you go 50% cash to close, and you go 70% LTV, and you go 10 years, let's go 9 years. That's not a huge surplus at closing, so I feel like it needs to be something like, I feel like you gotta go 10 years. Like, I feel like you got to. Oh. How do you make this deal work? So no monthly payment. I mean, realistically, you're probably going to land around 7.5%, maybe 7.7%. So this puts you at a break even when you refinance a loan in 10 years. Let's see what time it is, 7:18. You would get essentially $30,000 at closing after paying out this assignment fee. You're essentially breaking even or slightly cash flow positive. And if you did co-living or bumped this up, I think this becomes the deal. Normally, I start off a lot lower. I've already had a conversation. Like, I'm just going to be really straight to the point. Like, I don't want to beat around the bush on this one. It's just a gut feeling. Honestly, it's a case-by-case basis. For me, I'm just going to go straight to the point on this one of like, hey, this is where I'm going to be at. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I think this is going to be tough. So if I lowered the LTV, I'm in a much better cash flow position, obviously, but now I'm not really getting a huge surplus. At the end of the day, if we're going to assign this, it's not up to me on what the LTV is, because you can lower this LTV to where this deal makes sense and you can cash flow at a pretty decent clip. this is probably where I would want to buy the property at. But again, if you wanted to do it at 75%, that's, you'd be losing money every month, but if you really want the huge surplus, that's what it would take. Okay, so given that we know this, here's my offer. Cash to close, 126. I feel like if you were going to try to get this done, you would need to do like 10, you need to put in like 10K deferred interest or something. Like, you got to have something, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to take it without it. So I'm trying to think, what would that... Here's what I'm going to do. Balance due in full at the end of 10 years. I'm going to even change my template a little bit. How do I get rid of this row? There you go. What do I have in here for underwriting assumptions of agent fees? Ooh, okay. So I have agent fees of 3%. If I take that down to 0, that makes that surplus really, really strong at that point. If they agreed to this, I would do this deal. Yeah, I would do this deal. Okay. All right. I'm going to download this to a PDF. This is not normally how I do LOI blasting. It's because I've already had a conversation about this property. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, actually, before we do that, let's replicate the underwriting. So let's take my model and do the same thing. We're going to assume nothing on the rehab. Cash to seller. If you look at this is cash to seller. Monthly seller finance payment, 0. I'm going to do 70% LTV at, I think we had 7.7%. Sorry, I keep flipping back and forth. Monthly income is $2,200. Monthly insurance, we move to $150. Monthly property taxes, we have, if you just divide the annual property taxes by 12. Let's see what we get. This is saying the PITI is 1931.48. Guess what it is? 1931.48. Lender DSCR is 1.14, which is what we have here. Monthly lawn care, we're putting 0. Property management, yada, yada, yada. 0% commission. Assignment fees, $7,500. This is a deal that Mundo would do. So it looks like our calculator is correct. Monthly cash flow, 83.48 negative, which is the exact same number that we got to. So you're getting this same exact number. I had no idea this chair was in the way the whole time. Sorry about that. You're getting the exact same number. The only thing you're not getting is an answer on like what the surplus is, what the cash out refi is, all of that stuff. So this is a great tool for you to use to underwrite Morby methods, okay? That is completely free. So I would recommend getting really comfortable using that, and you can kind of use what we just talked about here as a reference point. But going back to this LOI and sending it out. Hi, Amy. I might have missed it, but I didn't see any attachments on what you referenced on mortgage statements and HOA restrictions. Oh wait, is this? Recovery fund notice. Let me see, did he put it in here? I'm confused. I don't see any attachments. I honestly was having a hard time getting to a reasonable monthly payment and still being able to cash flow. Therefore, I am putting in here that there will not be a monthly payment. However, we can defer some interest out to the end of the maturity date. So if you did 100, yeah, I think that's probably the best way of doing it, honestly. Okay, let's review this. On this one attached, okay. Attached is my LOI for 915 Ridingate. That I was, as I structured these terms around what I think the property can actually produce monthly as a rental. Okay. I think I'm a little redundant here. Hold on. I was using an estimated comp rental of 22. If you have reason to believe, happy to rise, I think it's a structured term. I think that's good enough. Okay. So this is good. Boom. We're sending this. So there we go. So we're sending it and we're marking this as hot. That's a potential deal right there. So hopefully that gave you some insight. I know there was some stumbling around. There may be even more confusion that I've created by doing this video, but I promise, stick with me, build the reps. Hopefully just take away just one little nugget from the video. Use the underwriting calculator that's on my website. That will help you a lot. If there's something very specific, I'm not trying to turn this into an hour training. That's why I went super quick. If there's something specific, you're like, hey, what did you mean at this point? Happy to answer any questions. And I will chat with you guys later.